Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to my channel, to my bookland. Welcome to our coffee times together, and today I'm bringing for you a book tag.
It's coffee time!
So a lot of people have been doing the middle year freak out tag, but then I was not sure if I wanted to do it, but then I found another mid-year kind of tag, and it's called the mid-year check-in tag. And I decided to do this one instead, and I was not tagged or anything, so I just decided to do it. I saw it over on the channel from Scott, Book Invasion, and I recommend you to check him out if you're looking for, books that not everybody is specifically talking about. He talks more about indie authors. He talks about sci-fi books. He has a lot of book reviews as well. So if you are not familiar to his channel, I'm gonna leave the link down below so that you can go ahead and check him out if you want. And now let's go ahead and check those questions. So according to Goodreads, I have read 72 books, but this includes graphic novels. So I've also read a couple of those this year. I don't know, maybe 10 of those are graphic novels. I'm not really sure. Maybe a little bit more. So, of course, those count as well, not just like books, but I think that I am in a good path this year. Last year, I read a total of 100 books, and I didn't want to force myself this year to get too stressed with reading, so I set the same number, the same goal for this year, 100, and we shall see. Probably I'm gonna go over it this year, but I think it's, like I said, mostly because of the graphic novels. One of my favorites this year that I just keep on mentioning and recommending, and it's just because it had such an impact on me, and I was just like so invested in this book, and I was feeling so many things. That is I Stop Somewhere by T.E. Carter, and it was also her debut novel, and it is so amazing. It is beautifully written, it is heartbreaking, and it was just such a treat to read, even though the story is very dark. And I always say, just go into this book when you're in a good mental state, when you are in a happy place, because it's a very sad book. It is, I always say, it's kind of similar to The Lovely Bones in the sense that when the book starts, you already know that our main character is dead. She was murdered, and she's basically telling you her story. But disclaimer alert for rape, physical abuse, and murder. So know this when you go into the book, but it is an amazing read. And one of the best graphic novels that I have read this year so far has been Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. And as I'm recording this video, because I'm not sure when it's going to come up on the channel, but the volume 2 is going to be shortly released, so I am so happy to get my hands on the second volume. This is a boy-boy relationship, but it is just so cute, and it is done so majestically. It is such an amazing read. I loved it. I read it in one sitting. I mean, it's kind of like a chunky graphic novel, but it's very short, and I absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for a fluffy contemporary boy-boy romance in a graphic novel form, this has to be a must read for you. I'm also gonna give you here two options, and the first one is When the Sky Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. I was really excited when I got into this book because I have heard good things about Emily Henry. I do have her other two previous books that I have not read, so I just jumped straight to her third book. But I was excited because this was sci-fi with teenagers and with aliens, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be like so good, especially me being a lover of Stranger Things and stuff like that. And it just disappointed me so much. I just felt the characters were all the same, like there were no difference between the characters. I was confusing them all the time. The story ended up taking a weird turn that I was like, what's going on? And so I was really disappointed because I was really expecting this book, and I was really excited to read it. It was one of the books I think that we read for a readathon, so I was really excited, and it just didn't make it for me. And then I read Five Midnights by Anne Davila Cardinal. I got this one through NetGalley, and I was again really excited about this book because it was a YA horror that had some Hispanic representation, because it's based in Puerto Rico and in a myth, a monster that the people from Puerto Rico believe in. Also in Spain we do. In Puerto Rico it's called El Cuco. In Spain we call it El Coco. It's basically the same thing. It's this monster that we tell children, oh, if you don't behave, if you don't do this or do that, he's gonna come and he's gonna take you. So that's basically, it's part of our folklore, and I was so excited about that, you know, also because I grew up being told that, you know, this entity was gonna come and take me. So I was super excited, but it ended up being not creepy. There was not enough horror. It was mostly basically a bunch of teenagers with, I mean, I did like that they brought a lot of the story of Puerto Rico, and there were many cultural references, but the characters felt a little bit bland, and there was also a love story that was 100% not necessary. It shouldn't have been there. It was not relevant for the story, and I wish they would have focused a little bit more on the horror and the myth of this creature and the creature itself, because it was not, you know, a lot in the book, and I think that's why I got really disappointed. Funny enough, this year I wanted to read more horror, but I have been reading more contemporary. I think part of the reason is also because this year I decided to join more readathons, and most of the books that I had or that I could have access to were contemporaries that fit all of these challenges, and also because I have not read much contemporary in the past, so I feel like I'm catching up. I'm reading a lot of that, so it's not bad. You know, I'm enjoying the books, which is the point of reading basically, but I would actually like to, on the second half of the year, focus a little bit more on adding more horror into my TBRs. I would have to say again T. Carter, because I discovered her this year, even though her debut novel came out I think in 2018. Also Nina LaCour is another author that I discovered this year reading We Are Not Okay, and I absolutely loved her writing. And one of the last ones that I was dying to read, one of, well, their books, is Christina Lauren. I read Autobiography and I loved the style, so I think it's going to be another one of the authors that I'm really going to enjoy. So from these three authors I would like to read more. T. Carter only has 2 books. I've read both of them, so I did purchase a couple more Nina LaCour books and Christina Lauren so that I can read them, because I really love their writing style. You know, when you read a book and you know you're gonna love this author, so I have this feeling with these 4 ladies. I think one of the ones that I went into it without knowing anything, and I did not expect that story, was How I Live Now by Meg Rosov. And I went into this book thinking, oh, it's just going to be a contemporary about some drama, you know, whatever. And I was a little bit shocked about the story and how like raw it was and how realistic everything felt. We're following the story of a teenager, disclaimer alert for eating disorder. We're following the story of this teenager that has an eating disorder, and she's unhappy because her father has like a new girlfriend, so she doesn't like the stepmom. Kind of a cliche, but it's just basically the first 10 pages. And then they decide to send her to England to relatives so that, you know, she can recover and, you know, move on from this eating disorder. But when she gets there, all her cousins are there and the aunt disappears, and then war strikes. So it gets very quickly to the point where it turns into being something totally different than what you expected, and I absolutely love the exploration of the characters. And it's like a short book, but it was like full of so many amazing things. So if you're interested in these types of books, definitely go into this one as well. I am highly anticipating The Institute by Stephen King, which has to do with children with special gifts. and I cannot wait. And they're in this called Institute, which in a way feels a little bit like the Mutants, you know what I mean? And I am really excited. I'm so excited that I pre-ordered 2 different copies because I found on Amazon there are 2 different publishers bringing different hardcovers of the book, so I pre-ordered both because why not? I just couldn't decide. Both covers were so pretty. I'm gonna put them somewhere here so you can see, and they were both so pretty. I just could not control myself. So I ended up pre-ordering 2 copies of the same book, but it's Stephen King, so it's totally accepted. And I think it's coming out on the 10th of September, so watch out for that date in case that you're interested in the story. My next priority, I think it's going to be, like I said, read more horror. So because we are entering slowly fall, I mean, we're already in that direction. I'm already planning a couple of videos and things that I can do also to motivate you guys to read more horror, because I know some of you have been asking, you know, oh, we would like to hear more about your horror recommendations and things like that. So I would like to work on that also in fall and winter this year. So yeah, just more horror. One of my biggest highlights, and I'm not gonna lie, has been The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, because this book was so addictive. I just could not put it down, and it made me feel so many things, and it was the perfect combination of like fun and smut, and I just loved it. Like, I can't lie, and I want to reread it, and I just loved it so much. And I did not expect to love a romance book this much, and I have heard that if I love this one, I should read Fix Her Up, and I already bought that book, because if somebody tells me it's like as good as this, I'm gonna buy that. So I bought Fix Her Up, and we will see. Will it take this book's place? We shall see. Now it's a time where I normally should tag people, but I think by the time this video goes up, probably everybody has done one of these mid-year tags, and also it's probably gonna come up late, so the mid-year kind of mark, it's already way past. But if you're still interested, I'm gonna leave in the description box down below the questions so that you can also do this tag if you wish. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate your support. Please give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber yet so you don't miss any more coffee times with me. And if you are also in other social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you will also find the links to those social medias down below in the description. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!